Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage. So today we're going to talk about Call of Duty, but first I gotta check my audio, like everybody else, which I really hate doing this. And of course it's all screwed. Perfect. Let's see, is it working? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm gonna keep my audio turned up just in case. It was a little screwy there for a little bit. That way, I can keep an eye on it. So, Call of Duty. If you haven't heard yet about what's going on with the modding community and security protocols for the game, let me catch you up real quick. And this might be a little ranty, so just hold on. But this is an update as of information today, and would have been last night and today. So far, we had cease and desist letters from Activision on several modding groups. SM2, IWK4, I believe that one was, and then also BOIII, or Boy, which is Black Ops 3. And what they did for their mods was they changed some stuff for multiplayer a little bit, but a bulk of it was for Call of Duty Zombies, or Nazi Zombies, it used to be called. And they provided these mods. Activision wasn't going to do anything with them, and so people that are just passionate about the gaming space and about Call of Duty and Nazi Zombies created these mods, created these platforms, made an area for servers to exist. Some of them you have to pay, some of them are technically free, but the gaming space and community space really enjoyed them. And these two would also have updates. There'd be new maps, there'd be new weapons, there'd be new perks for stuff, there'd be new type of drops you could get on the field. And one of the things that was underlying was that these modders were able to find some security protocol chinks in the armor, if you will, and were able to fix them, which is great, which makes the game more secure. And we have had some people that have expressed that they've gotten hacked, they've had their IP stolen, they've had credit cards or other private information stolen from these Call of Duty games. And, these updated security protocols from these modders were quite helpful. Now, usually, if you don't even really know that there's a whole community of modders out there in the modding space, these is usually for PC, and that's how it started, was for PC. You are able to get some mods for some games on console, and but most of the time it is just for PC. So if you have a PC, you probably know all about this. If you have a console, maybe you don't. But these companies, the three that I mentioned, there might be a few others out there now, is that they got a cease and desist letter from Activision. And the issue on Activision's side, as they stated in their cease and desist, was that they allowed pirated versions of their games. So again, World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. I think even Infinite Warfare might be out there, but the Treyarch games are the favorites because, again, of the zombies. And let me tell you, the last few iterations that we've had of zombies has not been very good. They have been pretty sour. So, and I gotta agree. They're honestly not very good. I like the old versions better. Black Ops 3 has been the favorite because of the Zombie Chronicles, where they took a lot of the older zombie maps, mushed them all into a bundle, and you could just pay for the bundle. And sometimes Black Ops 3 Season Pass and Zombie Chronicles you can get for like $30, $40. You can get all of that content for pretty cheap. And it's the biggest Call of Duty zombie bundle out there, which is great. Um, and so the cease and desist happened. They have to stop operations immediately. And this is when we started hearing in the Call of Duty community, hey, they're shutting down modding. And we started hearing all of this stuff. So some of this stuff that I've kept up with is not necessarily true. And it is kind of been difficult to go through the murky water because people are very emotional about this. People have already had issues with Activision for years, with Call of Duty franchise, and with Activision Blizzard with other franchises like Diablo and some others. And so, oh yeah, World of Warcraft, that's another one. And so, yeah, people too are just kind of getting tired of the trash and the crappy games, and the focus being money for the companies instead of actually producing good quality product. So, and this is just more wood on the fire, folks. And it really kind of has been on YouTube. So I'm sure most people have seen it by now. It is picking up steam. And what these people are ultimately calling for is a boycott of Call of Duty, or just Activision overall. And so they're... Let's see, I'm trying to think of exactly where to start. So yeah, people have been complaining about this. Again, the biggest thing they've been vouching for is that the security protocols were updated for these games, and that it was actually a place where people could enjoy more zombie content. Because let's face it, if you played Vanguard Zombies, it was really bad. It was really flippin' bad. And even I hated it. I think that's the worst version of zombies we've ever had, and is horrible. I couldn't even believe it. And so, hold on, folks. I think my wife's going to bed. Got to say goodnight. All right, I'm back. And so, yeah, the security protocol issues, the fact that Zombies was pretty much staying up to date, more content was being made. We know everything in Call of Duty has basically shifted over to... I'm just checking my audio. Perfect. We know a lot of it shifted over to Warzone. Ever since Blackout, Warzone has been a main factor. And they're going to continue on with that and continue on with that type of live service. And, people just have not been very happy. So something that people need to realize, though, is that none of this had to happen. And I'm serious. Really, none of this had to happen at all. Plutonium, which is another hub for modding, for these zombies modding, they do just PC. Boy, I think, was the only one that did PC and console. But Plutonium is still running. And I've seen a couple of videos so far where even people have said that Plutonium has shut down, that they've gotten a cease and desist letter. And they haven't. Not that I've been able to find. And Plutonium is still running tonight. Last I saw, there was 2,700 people online across just over 1,000 servers. It's still running. In Plutonium, you can play World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. And that's what they make their mods for. And there's a whole way to create your own server and explore. They have a browser where you can explore the servers that are up, and you can join them at will, and you can have a good time on PC. Some people, too, have said that the whole reason Activision has done this is because some of these, like SM2, have gotten too popular, or that the content that they're creating is pulling away too many in the Call of Duty space, and that Activision basically wanted to find a way to shut them down. And I don't think that's necessarily accurate either. The modding space, compared to the general populace, is really small. Some people really enjoy it, and they're super into it. And there's nothing wrong with modding, but they kind of think of more highly of themselves, more influential than I think they should. They're a smaller group than you would think they are, and they don't influence a lot of the gaming space. Some of the best mods, in my opinion, have been for Fallout games. Like Fallout 4 had Miami and New London, and oh my word, when I was so excited for those, I was like, oh crap, it's just for PC. That sucks. But I do think, too, that modding should be embraced by more companies. There should be more availability, kind of like ease of access to have mods if people choose. And that way people can ultimately decide for themselves. People can expand on the gaming space. You can actually have third-party contractors actually design aspects or put features into a game to keep these games alive and keep the revenue flowing. And the only reason Plutonium is still alive, folks, is because they have a protocol to make sure that the game that's being used, World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, is not pirated. That's all these other modders had to do, is just make sure that you couldn't torrent the game and play an illegitimate piece. And, some people think, well, the game's old, it doesn't matter. People should just go, that shouldn't be an issue. Call of Duty is not making a ton of money off of these old games. And I agree. But still, it's theft. Like, in no way is theft okay. Because you're literally stealing from someone else. And yeah, that is wrong. It doesn't matter what the, circumstances are. Like, if I had to steal food from my family, I probably would. If I tried every other avenue first. And if I got caught, I'd be like, yeah, I'm still stealing. Because I want my family to live. Now, in that type of circumstance, I didn't do a very good job of improving my skills, enhancing my skills, getting a job just to make enough money, but in some countries this is an issue, and they do have to steal to keep their families alive. And that's horrible. I never want to personally get there. And I never want to vote in a way that continues to push for the government to rule everything. Because that's what happens in these countries. So I want to keep government as small as possible and keep more influence and decision-making in the hands of the people. And that's how I vote. And that's how I vote, too, with my money. If gaming companies are so focused on getting as much as they can, making the decision for everybody else, even to the point of saying, oh, we don't really care what the consumer base thinks, man, I am not a fan of those companies. And I can't remember the last time I bought a Medal of Honor, Call of Duty, or there was another one. But anyway, I can't remember the last time I bought a new copy of Call of Duty. I buy just about everything pre-owned. Games that I'm really excited about, or games or studios that I really appreciate, I'm willing to give them my money. I'm willing to pre-order, and I'm willing to buy at launch, buy a new game so they get the revenue. But Call of Duty, I haven't done that. I haven't done that since probably one of the Black Ops games. And even Black Ops 3 I didn't buy new. Maybe I bought Black Ops 1 new. Or Black Ops 2. But it's been a really long time. And again, I have not enjoyed how they've ran their company. But again, if they have theft happening to their product and service, they have every legal right to go after the folks that are allowing or causing theft. It's just like, I don't necessarily enjoy some of these bigger retail companies. And, I don't have to shop there. I can shop somewhere else. But I don't get to steal their product. And ultimately, when theft happens, folks, you're not hurting the company. You're hurting the employees. Because if you're paying attention to Kroger, Fred Meyer, Walmart, or Target, or Best Buy, these companies that are having huge amounts of theft, I mean, hundreds like $100 million a month in theft across the country, then what you're looking at is that the stores that are not profitable, they're going to close. And all of those employees either have to move or be laid off. And so you're hurting the employees' bottom line. Because again, if it's not profitable, those stores close. Or the company fails. And you're hurting the employees. Again, as an employee, you don't have to work for the companies you don't like. You don't. You can work somewhere else. Is it more work sometimes? Yeah, but you can work somewhere else. But in no way is theft okay. So Activision Blizzard has every right to do what they did. And Plutonium, it's still running. And I don't hear a word about Plutonium anymore on any of these channels that are talking about what's going on in the modding space and the lack of security protocols and how everything is basically up for grabs and everything can be hacked. Folks, everything can be hacked. Everything. There isn't a single thing out there that can't be hacked. Even at the government level. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, Langley, the Pentagon, they have all been hacked. So, if you want to talk about, hey, they can be hacked, that's a moot point. If you want to talk about, too, about the modding space, again, there's a way to do it without allowing theft, without being part of the illegal activity. Because you become an accomplice. And yeah, when you can be an accomplice to something, to a crime, you can still face jail time. And so, even outside of the gaming space, remember that, folks. Your inaction matters too. It can definitely matter. And there's some channels too that are calling for this boycott of Call of Duty. I find it funny that there isn't a lot of data or a lot of posts to necessarily back up what's been said. So first it was PC. And then, you can be hacked on PC and console. And you can be hacked all the way up to Black Ops 3. And now you can be hacked up to Modern Warfare 1. Now you can be hacked on Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone. So basically all of them. And still, there's no I understand people say something that they heard from somebody else, but there's really not a lot of official news or any statements from Activision about this problem. And yeah, I believe that some of the security protocols are lacking in some of the older games. But that's because they don't support them anymore, folks. All of the games that are basically 5 years old or older, they're not supported anymore as a live service. Because the company has moved on to another game or another IP entirely, and now they're focusing on that. So unless you're like, again, World of Warcraft, Destiny, etc. But if there hasn't been a new game, yeah, they're still keeping those going, and those security protocols should still be updated. But yeah, if a game has been old and been replaced multiple times by other iterations in the IP, then yeah, there isn't going to be any updates for those games. So you're taking a risk even then too. It doesn't matter what the company is, what the game is. But again, these channels are just focusing, it's all Activision. This is not new information, folks. Like, there's nothing unique about this. And if you're just now jumping on the bandwagon, in my opinion, to boycott Activision and Call of Duty, you are way late to the party. Because there are so many issues, there's been such a lack of investment and involvement, a lack of creativity. Remember, folks, Infinite Warfare was the most hated trailer ever in the history of YouTube. Movies, shows, all games, the most hated and thumbed down trailer ever on YouTube. And people still buy the stuff. People still think like it's going to get better. Or the fact that people just accept it. So again, I'm glad there's this movement to boycott, because I think there are multiple reasons, multiple Ways why we should boycott to an extent. Again, don't buy the brand new game. Don't pre-order it. Don't spend the in-game currency. Okay? Don't trade your real money for something that's fake. Just grind it out. But to totally call for boycotting all of this from an emotional standpoint, most of it I feel is an emotional standpoint because, again, I've taken time to look through Reddit. I've taken time to look at these tweets, the posts on YouTube. I've taken time to try to research some of these names. And there is some legitimate statements there, and some of these accounts are legitimate. And the concerns are legitimate, too, for some of these older games. But to completely boycott one of the biggest franchising companies in the world in the gaming space because a small community of modders got their feelings hurt for doing it or allowing an illegal activity when there's still other modders out there that are still up that don't have a cease and desist. Like, this is emotional propaganda, and I'm going to call it for what it is. And again, you folks don't have to agree with me, but I mean, this is totally blown out of proportion, and we're having lies perpetuated now through this boycott propaganda to totally shut down Activision. And again, I still have the stance, if you're just now figuring that out, man, you are almost a decade late to the party. I mean, you've missed it. But I guess better late than never. So yeah, if you still own a PC and you still want to play, you can go to Plutonium. And it's pretty easy to find. You can still do that. For console, the mods are gone, at least for right now. Doesn't mean you can't have another group get started, another group run a protocol just like Plutonium to make sure the games are legitimate, and run the service. That's still doable. But again, illegal activity is illegal, and we shouldn't condone it. And taking a look too at the SteamCharts, I looked at Black Ops 3, and I looked at Modern Warfare 2, the reboot, the remake that came out last year, and Warzone 2. And it hasn't, this whole boycott thing, it hasn't had an effect yet. Black Ops 3 hasn't had any effect whatsoever. The cyclical heartbeat pattern is exactly the same. It hasn't moved. Plutonium has gone from about 1,500 players to about 3,000 players. So they've almost doubled because, again, these other modders got shut off. And people are figuring out that, I believe anyway, people are figuring out Plutonium still exists because they don't have a cease and desist, and they won't have one as long as they have a protocol to make sure that the games are legitimate. And again, you don't have to buy directly from Call of Duty for these games. You can still buy the physical versions of these games. Or get the keys from somebody else. You don't have to get it directly from Activision if you want a clean moral conscience for yourself. And, but yeah, it hasn't had an effect. For Modern Warzone 2, it's had a somewhat of an effect. They've lost about, the average has gone down about 17,000 players, from about 81,000 to like 65,000. But yeah, they've lost about 17,000 average players in the month of May. A large part of it probably due to this. But again, Steam is just looking at PC. I still see some people playing Black Ops 3, World at War, some of the other Black Ops. I still see, I think I saw Infinite Warfare earlier this week, and some people are still playing Modern Warfare 2. So, it's not as much, but some people are still playing this. And but again, this boycott isn't necessarily working. The issue of hacking has been there. It has been there for older games, But I haven't seen any proof yet that is, what's the word I'm looking for? That's undeniable. That's backed up. That the new Modern Warfares are hackable. There's no evidence of that. There's no solid evidence of that I've been able to find anyway. So go out and enjoy playing your games. If you want to play COD, play COD. And Lion and I, we're going through Dark Souls, but later this year we're going to be going through pretty much all of the all the iterations of zombies out there. So starting with World at War and working our way forward. And we hope that you guys will join us for that. And again, if you don't want to take the risk, don't take the risk. It's okay. But see this boycott for what it is. And if you want to boycott, have it for some other reason. Because this isn't, in my opinion, it's not a good one. So, those are my thoughts, folks. What do you think about all this? Even if we don't agree, that is okay. We can still be friends. We're still gamers. We can still have respect for each other. And, yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what you've heard. And, if you want to, you can source your material. I know that's basically a dead thing now. Thank you, Facebook. But yeah, if you can source some stuff, that would be great. And put some updates out there, too. So, hopefully you guys are having a good weekend. Take some time to rest. And yeah, if life is rough, find some folks to stick close to. Have some buddies. Have some people that you trust. And just remember to check in on folks, people. If people seem like they're doing okay, just make sure. There's nothing wrong with doing that. We need to have a more cohesive social life in our real world. Because the digital world isn't working. And I'm thinking of talking about that again a little later this year. Maybe sometime during the summer. And just kind of having a monologue about what I'm seeing in society, what I'm seeing among us as gamers, and even across multiple states. And I was talking to somebody again today of just kind of the underlying perspective and the way people live socially is there's a sickness there. So maybe I'll do a little thing on that soon. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Again, you can find me on YouTube, and you can find me on Twitch. And hopefully, I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a good one.